And we are back. And we just finished 1955, Diabolique, not rated, with a runtime of 1 hour and 57 minutes. Welcome back to the Friday Family Film Night podcast. And we are looking at this French film as we wrap up Women's History Month, where we wanted to look at films from the female vantage point. This film is tagged as French psychological thriller, crime, drama, horror, mystery thriller on the IMDb page. And the blurb says, the wife and mistress of a Lode school principal plan to murder him with what they believe is the perfect alibi. This comes to us from director Henri-Georges Clouzot, with writing credits to Henri-Georges Clouzot, Jérôme, Géronimi, and this comes from a novel, Celle qui n'est plus, by Pierre, Boileau, and Thomas Narcejaca. Translates to She Who Was No More, which I don't know if we want to spoil this film, do we? Maybe we want to just talk a little bit about it, but not give away the ending, which is kind of funny because...
Gives a crap. This movie's from the 90s.
It's earlier than that, 1955.
1950. Whatever.
Well, I mean, it's kind of interesting because when the film wrapped up at the end, at the credits, they basically say, hey, please don't tell your friends how this ends because they should come into this blind. I think that's a great way to see this film for the first time, to not know anything about it. What did you think of the film?
I liked it. I liked the story. It was interesting. I mean, there was a certain point where I was just like, all right, well, I think I have this figured out, because there really wasn't any other way it could go. And but I still enjoyed it. And then at the I think I said at the end, it was like Detective Batman just showed up out of nowhere. And it's just like, all right, you're under arrest. And where
was he like 5 minutes prior?
I know. He just let that woman die. And magnificent death, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was
very true to life.
That's like an all-timer death scene for it's like right up there with what's her name? The one from the last Batman movie. Remember?
Yes.
She's like sitting in that car and she just like
terrible. Olive G, what did you think of the film?
It was okay. I didn't really like the ending.
You didn't like the ending because it kind of fell flat, or because you were just all done with the entire story?
I was all done with the entire story after the murder, but like also because it genuinely fell flat and it was buns.
Do you think
were you mad? Were you mad that there was like a double cross there?
No, I was mad that she died.
Oh, you were mad that she died.
Did you have a favorite character?
No, they were all insufferable and annoying, especially the main character. My God, that woman needs to like grow up hair or something, because like, oh my freaking God.
Well, I mean, also you have to take into account this is 1955. People were way different in the 50s. I think especially women are seen as property. I mean, we get a sense of what a piece of crap her husband is. Not only is he abusive towards his wife, he's abusive towards his lover, his mistress. So, and it's funny because it's like he's no good-looking guy, and yet he's bagging babes and instilling fear in everybody. I mean, everyone had a healthy fear of him, right?
Yeah, even the other two school teachers.
School teachers, right. And the kids.
The kids were afraid
of him. The kids
him.
ran wild with everyone except for him. Like, whenever he said something, everyone stopped.
Well, the one thing that was interesting about the film is they really waste no time in basically saying this guy is a complete bastard.
Yeah. No, they show you.
You know what a scumbag he is from probably even before you actually see him. And then you see him and the way he acts, and it's just like, oh, God, yeah, I hope this guy gets his.
This is a little bit longer than the other film that we're going to pair this which is Cleo from 5 to 7. Since you saw both, what do you think? And again, this film is a little bit longer than that, and yet you seem to like this one more than the other one. What about this film made it more interesting to you than the other film?
This one actually had an interesting plot. It had interesting character interactions. It kept you guessing, kind of, like what was going on? Was Was this a ghost story? Was this just a straight up murder mystery? What actually was happening? And it kept you guessing. So that was interesting. The other one, Chloe from 5 to 7 or 7 to 9 or whatever the hell that thing was, that was just a slice of life movie with a dull character that I didn't care about. And the film an hour and a half later, I still didn't care about her. It's like, oh great, you don't view yourself as an object anymore. Now you're viewing yourself in the world or whatever. Great, wonderful, good for you. Yay. That's not something I want to go see in a movie. I want something to happen. I want to be told an interesting story. I don't want to see somebody just agonizing over one thing and then it just ending. This had a story. There was intrigue. There was cover. Will the plan work? What the hell's going on? Where's the body? Where did it go? Is his ghost haunting the school? What is happening? That sort of thing. Right. It keeps you interested.
Well, before you figured it out, did you feel like there could have been a supernatural slant to this? Okay, but before you answer that question, had you ever seen or heard of this film before?
I mean, I heard the title. I had no idea what it was about, though. I had never watched it. I've never seen it. Mm-hmm. I'm positive there was remakes of it, but I've never seen any of them either. So this was a fresh experience for me.
Okay. And then before we get towards the end of the film where you kind of figure it out, prior to that, when the murder first happens, did you believe that this could be like a supernatural story? Because I felt like at the beginning it was one thing and then it turned into something else.
Yeah, maybe for a little bit, but then after a while, it was just sort of like my mind just started thinking about it. I just started thinking about it, and in my mind, I was just like, well, how would this have worked? Mm-hmm. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, that's the only obvious way this would work. It's either going to be a ghost or it's going to happen this way, and it happened the other way because, spoiler alert, it's not a ghost.
Or is there? Because at the very end, we find out from one of the students that...
oh, yes. Yeah.
I thought that was the interesting thing about this film. Well, a couple of things. I think also the story of how the mistress and the wife form this alliance.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's
adds
intrigue to the story. It's like this dude must be horrible if these two are getting together. These two have every right to hate each other.
Right.
And no, they are aligned, and they've been aligned because it's not like as though you're watching as this plan is forming between the two of them. It's sort of like, are you ready to do this now? Like they've been thinking about this for a while.
Well, at least Nicole has, and she sort of onboards Christina.
Yeah, but still, it's not like as though this is a fresh idea.
No.
In fact, they don't even really explain what they're going to do. It's just sort of like, all right, are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's get going.
Yeah, let's enact the plan. Olive G, did I ask you if you had a favorite character?
No, I told you all the characters were insufferable and annoying.
Right, that's right.
Especially the main character.
Right,
You need to grow a pair.
Can we talk about the detective? What did you think of the detective?
He kind of was a little Columbo-esque.
Do you want to hear something funny that you said that? He actually is the template for Columbo.
Really? Oh, that makes a hell of a lot of sense because he really was he was Columbo and Batman mixed together. His ability to just appear in shadow. Yeah, but because it was just sort of like he kind of knew what was going on. It felt like he knew what was going on from the get-go. But he was just sort of asking those sort of inane questions that Columbo asks that make people go insane and give themselves up.
Did you find the relationship between Christina and Nicole anything other than this alliance between these two women who had suffered abuse at the hands of this man?
I mean, I could see why people were like, I don't know proper word, but I guess painting it as some sort of lesbian relationship based upon Christine's personality or character. I don't think that was an actual thing. I think it's just something that you could sort of imprint upon it depending on where you're coming from. But in actuality, no, I don't believe that there was any sort of romantic relationship occurring between the two of them.
Okay. It's interesting because I think in the novel it's more overt, and I think in the remake with Sharon Stone and Isabella and Johnny, I think it's more overt. Here, I think something that you always say, if you're looking for it, you'll find it, right? So I think a case could be made, although it's not overtly implied in this particular piece. If anything, I felt like Nicole was sort of an older sister, an auntie to Christina. Like she wanted to steer her in this direction, to protect her, to guide her in a way, right? There's something
Nicole is definitely
nurturing.
the one. Well, I wouldn't even say nurturing, but she's the one that's in charge of this whole thing.
Sure. But you don't feel like she has sort of like this almost motherly affection towards Christina?
I didn't really feel that, no. I felt that more along the lines of, I want this done, and this woman is my partner in this. And when she starts floundering, which she does, she starts having second thoughts or whatever, Nicole is just basically like, no, you're going to do this. You're going to get this stuff done.
Okay, yeah.
To me, it wasn't really a nurturing relationship. It was more of a, you're going to do it because we've come too far. And it's not really like, oh, we're doing it because we love each other. It's not like that country song where the two women kill that guy. It's different. They're, you could see these women aren't really lifelong friends. They don't really have much in common. Actually,
No,
at all,
they're
aside
very
from the
different.
fact that they work in this school.
And I think in the beginning of the film, like one of the teachers is sort of like scandalized that they sort of have even a relationship, right? Because it goes against everything that you would think, like, the mistress and the wives should never interact.
They should be having cat fights.
Yes, exactly. I think another thing that I read in my sort of mini deep dive was the correlation between this film and a lot of Hitchcock stories, right? Do you see that as well?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this definitely felt like a Hitchcock movie.
Do you think it wraps up nicely like Hitchcock? Or there's some ambiguity at the end, but I think it still works.
I don't feel like there was ambiguity at the end. I mean, there's like that little nod to, oh, maybe there's a ghost now. But as far as the way it wrapped up, like that was the end. I mean, Detective Batman pretty much put the nail in that coffin.
But it was so anticlimactic, no?
It was kind of. It was almost like they were like, all right, we're at about an hour and a half. Let's just end this thing.
Which is unfortunate because we're doing this film. It's from 1955. The pacing is way different than what we're used to. I didn't mind it, but I could see how a modern audience might be. I know Olive really wasn't into it, and it's fine, but I could see how a modern audience wouldn't be into this. But it was such a letdown, though, because I felt like the other parts of the story were well crafted. Yeah. And then to sort of have this like tacked on ending where it's like, boom, it's done, it's over. Yeah. And it was just like, but we had all this preamble going into this, and then all of a sudden you're just going to chintz out all the, it's like almost like, oh, we lost budget, so we're just going to wrap it up off screen.
Yeah, they definitely could have tightened things up in the beginning. And there was like a lot of scenes that just really went on for a long time. Like when she goes to the morgue, it's like, all right, well, let's follow the guy down into the bowels of the morgue. Oh, he's pulling the body out. He's putting it on the gurney. He's putting it in the elevator. Let's watch the elevator go up. And meanwhile, in a movie today, it would just be like, I'm here to see the body. And then
boom, the next scene would be
show the body. Yeah. Oh, that's not him.
Right, exactly. Like all that minutia would have been.
Like I did not need to see two guys and a gurney with a corpse on it go up an elevator. And that took like over like 2 or 3 minutes. And it was just sort of like, yeah, you could have tightened that up and maybe used a little bit more of that time at the end to maybe stretch it out a little, maybe make her death a little bit less
silly
looking, or just have the detective not just pop out of the like he was there the whole time.
He just came out of the darkness. It was so funny.
He was basically standing in a darkened corner watching everything happen. And it was just like, okay, she's dead now. Now I got these people for murder. Yeah. That was weird.
So crazy. But I thought it worked. I enjoyed it. I thought it was...
overall, it was still an enjoyable watch. I liked the story. I could see how this could be remade. I knew that it was probably remade. I didn't know that there was an actual film out that was there.
From the 90s, yeah. I think Sharon Stone is the Nicole character. Isabel Anjani is the Christina character. And Chaz Palminteri is the principal, the school. Yes, the scumbag.
Yeah, I mean, I could see probably that this film being made again because it's a good plot.
Yeah.
It is a good
Yeah,
plot.
I would
just
love
feel
to
like
see somebody do it now, actually.
I just feel like pick up the pacing and don't take shortcuts at the end. And
Yeah.
I think you got something you had something really good there.
Yeah. Olive G, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this film?
6.
A 6. Okay. 1 to 10, what would you give this?
I give it a 7.
7. I was going back and forth between a 7 and an 8. I guess I'll give it a 7.5. I think from where it starts to where it ends, it's quite the journey, and it's pretty impressive. We've talked in the past how sometimes things just don't last the test of time, but I think with this particular piece, the story is really strong and interesting, and it still translates from 1955. I think you get a real sense of Christina. You immediately know that Michel is just a piece of crap, just completely unlikable. So when he gets his, you're sort of like happy, but then the tables are turned because you think he's come back from beyond the grave to extract his revenge. But yeah, I think a 7.5. I think if you're a film student, you should absolutely be watching these films. I think even though they're over 50 years old at this point, I think that there's still a lot of meat on this bone that could be explored and expanded. And I think if you're ambitious, you take something like this that stood the test of time and you bring it into the modern age. I'd love to see a remake of this. I mean, again, the previous iteration of this was from the 90s, so a bunch of time has passed. So it'd be interesting to see how this story would incorporate in the modern age with the things that are happening in this day and time, whether the person is now an influencer or some such nonsense, right? Yeah, I would love to see a remake of this. Okay, as we wrap it up, we want to encourage everyone to, again, please like, share, and follow. Drop us a note in the comments section and let us know what you think of Les Diaboliques from 1955. And with that, we'll wrap it up and bid you all a
Good night.
Good night.
good night.